Chiefs are saving money but losing protection. KC will release Jawaan Taylor and save $20 million in cap space. Taylor's 28. It's on the last year of his 4-year, $80 million deal. A lot of people knew this was going to happen. I did. In his 49 games, he had 45 penalties. Not great. Led the league. How should Mahomes feel about this?
Nonplussed. Everybody knew this was going to happen. The day he signed the contract, it seemed like this was going to happen. It was structured so it'd be a 3-year deal. That in year 4, he has $28 million on the books, or if you cut him, it's $8 million dead. Like, everyone expected this to happen. Now, what is true is this: Jawaan Taylor's a good player. Someone will sign him and get a good right tackle.
He's not getting huge money.
No, clearly nobody wanted to pay him $20 million because that's what they could have traded him for. But I bet he gets $15 million. He'll be a starting right tackle. I think he would be. We just talked about the Patriots. I think he'd be a good signing for the Patriots. He is the most penalized player in the league.
Yes.
And on the plays he doesn't commit a penalty, he's quite good. So the penalties, if he never committed any penalties or just was league average in penalties, he'd be like an A- right tackle. Because of the penalties, he's like a B- C+ right tackle. Yeah.
Never been a Pro Bowler, says a lot nowadays.
Sure. And so I think he's a good player. That if your team signs him, it'll be frustrating, but I think he's good snap to snap. But the Chiefs have their starting left tackle set, assuming he comes back from the wrist injury that he suffered. Starting left guard is set, the best center in the league, and one of the highest paid guards in the league at right guard. Right tackle is the question mark, but they have Jalen Moore, they have Esapole, and Wanya Morris will all compete for it. So offensive line is not the priority for the Chiefs. And the people who think they might take a tackle at 9 are out of their minds. They have 4 of the 5 positions are set. They're not taking a tackle at 9 when they have so many other needs.
I agree that 4 of the 5 that you mentioned, those are set. Right tackle, maybe it'll be more or some of those guys, but I think it's somewhat of a question mark.
Sure.
And with Mahomes coming off injury, and we've seen, in the Super Bowls he struggled in, it's been because of the offensive line. We saw the injuries last year, to the offensive line. I am not against prioritizing that offensive line in the draft. I mean, there's talk they could take the kid out of Utah to tackle Fano or, So I wouldn't kill them for bolstering their offensive line because Mahomes, the last 2 years, has been sacked, his highest sack percentage of his career have each been in the last 2 years. And the number one priority is going to be to protect him. He may not be as mobile as he's been in the past. So that would be my number one priority. Obviously, I look, the other 4 guys are really good. So I'm not worried about them if they're healthy. But that right guard, I know it's not as important as left tackle, but that right tackle is still important. And so I'm not concerned about losing Jawaan if I'm Mahomes. I mean, that just means we're not going to lead the league in penalties, every year. But they got to bolster that position. And
I think it would be, and you guys know, I think Brett Veach is excellent at his job. I think he is building the beginnings of a Hall of Fame resume for what he's done in his short time as general manager. I think taking a tackle at 9 would be outrageous. I would be shocked if they do it. Like, I guess I have to see how the draft falls, so to speak, but they desperately need help at running back and at pass rusher.
So can I ask you?
And so I would just have to think either you're taking Love or you're taking a pass rusher.
You put the moderate ineptness of Chiefs running backs on the running backs, not the line.
Correct. I mean, Creed Humphrey's the best center in the league, and Trey Smith is a great run blocker, even better run blocker than he is pass blocker. Yes, I mean, Kareem Hunt was out of the league and is, God love him, is amazing at getting you 1.5 yards, like the best at it, best at it, better than the tush push.
Yeah, I know.
And Pacheco broke his leg and wasn't the same.
Right.
I like Isaiah a lot, but he has not been the same player post that injury.
A quick no huddle. Starting in Minnesota, where once upon a time they brought in a veteran named Sam Darnold behind J.J. McCarthy. That QB has since won the Super Bowl, and the Vikings are back to the same spot. They're looking to bring in a veteran behind or to challenge J.J. McCarthy. Is this the right move, Nick?
I want to say this in the beginning. I did not like J.J. McCarthy as a prospect coming out of Michigan.
Yeah.
I said, if you guys remember, that the other quarterbacks, the scouts who liked him would be like, man, his arm talent and his athleticism. With J.J. McCarthy, would be like, this young man looks you in the eye and shakes your hand. That worries me.
Right, though.
It was all that. So
Yeah.
I have not liked what I've seen from him. A 9 notwithstanding.
Yeah.
Despite that, I believe he must be the Vikings starting quarterback at least through Thanksgiving.
Wow.
You have to, you cannot, in my opinion, organizationally make a decision. We have hit our ceiling that we can get to with good quarterbacking. Kirk Cousins. And then double down on that decision by saying Sam Darnold, 14 wins, 4,000 yards, don't care.
Don't care at all.
And then pull the ripcord on this decision 10 games in. Because, and again, I do not think he is going to be a good, much less great player. But he wouldn't, there have been plenty of other quarterbacks who through 10 games, which is all he's played, looked awful and turned into something far greater than awful. Josh Allen, through 10 games, was worse than J.J. McCarthy. Sam Darnold, now it took him a while, but maybe that was a Jets problem, through 10 games was worse than J.J. McCarthy. And so I just think unless the only person who wanted him was Quessy, the GM, who's now gone, if Kevin O'Connell was agreed, we need to give ourselves a chance to be great at quarterback, then all of a sudden, benching him 10 games into his career so you can sign Aaron Rodgers or bring back Kirk Cousins or whatever it is, the process is so bad. So I think you've got to give him, maybe not the entirety of next season, but the bulk of next season as the starter to see.
I totally disagree. And I'm not saying just throw him out, we're done with him. I'm saying I'm bringing somebody in to compete with him.
That guy's going to win the competition.
Maybe even
that guy will be better.
And he might, and if he's better, he's better. This is professional football. It's not J.J. McCarthy, as you said, to a lot of us, he didn't show us a ton at Michigan. I know they won the national championship, but he was handing the ball off a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so look, he had a year to sit. I get it. He's not an all-time great, but he was behind Sam Darnold. So you got to see,
Sam Darnold's Super Bowl champion.
I know, but it's not like sitting at the feet of Aaron Rodgers.
Well, they got the
Patrick
same amount of
Mahomes.
Super Bowls.
Yeah.
All right. But I'm saying he was in the system for a year, was obviously in the classroom, was seeing Darnold, was learning. Then, Nick, and the difference to me with Josh Allen and Darnold, they went to bad organizations or teams at that point. Buffalo was okay, but they didn't have a great receiver, maybe the best in the league, a legitimate number 2 in Jordan Addison, a very good tight end in Hockenson.
Sure.
Like, this team is built to win. Now, very few young quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, are put in this position where, the team is really good. Now, I'm not comparing him to Mahomes, but Mahomes went to a good team and then took him to the next level. So I just think that this is about competition. And if we bring somebody in and J.J. McCarthy melts emotionally, he's not my guy. If we bring, and he wasn't good enough to even get an attitude of, how dare they?
So that's not what I'm worried
bothered
about.
by it.
I'm not worried about him melting, and I'm not worried about him being offended. I just think if you bring in a veteran, that guy will obviously be better, and so he'll obviously win the job. Yeah. And I think I don't think you can spend that type of draft pick on a player when you are fine at the position because you want to give yourself a chance to be great and not see that decision out. So I do think
San Francisco did that with Trey.
San Francisco did that with Trey only because they had a player same age who came in because Trey was injured, who turned into a star almost immediately. And it's like, okay, the upside we thought we were getting from Trey, we now are getting in Brock. If there was as crazy as this sounds, if they signed Anthony Richardson and he beats out J.J. McCarthy, I would actually be more okay with that.
What about Kyler Murray?
Because that, do you understand what I'm saying?
that's on
Because
the
then
board.
it's
I
like
think
you
that's on the
have
board.
the
They're the
same
same,
upside,
yeah,
the
right.
same age. But if they sign
Geno.
Kyler,
exactly.
what about Kyler Murray?
Kyler's young enough that I guess I wouldn't be as offended by the process of it. Because Kyler, at least you think maybe there is still
he
that
might
higher
be your
ceiling.
guy.
But like the real, veteran quarterback that we're taught, the Andy Dalton, archetype, which Kirk Cousins is in at this point of his career. Rodgers, which is a one-year thing. That to me feels like you could have just stayed on the Kirk Cousins train. And when you got off that, you could have stayed on the Sam Darnold train.
But they know Cousins wasn't great in the big games, right? And you felt because of what you'd seen with him over the years, there's a playoff ceiling. He's just not going to get us over that hump. I think they're looking at it like, if we get some good quarterback play, we could get to the Super Bowl. I think that's what they're thinking. Whether people agree with it or not, they're looking at it like our defense is Super Bowl caliber, we think. Obviously, we got enough offensive weapons. Darnold's year there, we know he melted down late in the season and in the playoffs, but maybe that was just because it was his first time as a good quarterback. And so they may be thinking I agree, I don't think Cousins gets them to the Super Bowl or anything. But bringing in a Kyler Murray or somebody like that has upside.
Kyler is interesting.
Like they feel like they can win now.
You said Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What's the difference between 10 games and 10 plus however many games until Thanksgiving?
What do you mean?
Don't you just have to ride with him the whole year?
No. Here's the reason I said that. Because I do think you can be 20 games into your career and in year 3, and if you have shown no improvement, then okay, then it's Josh Rosen. And Josh Rosen didn't even get that many games. It's like, okay, this guy's just not going to be it. Not the guy. So I'm not going to sit here and say they must give him all of next season.
Yeah.
But I think the plan has to be to give him next year, or else it's just.
That's almost giving up. I mean, again, maybe it'll be good, but that's almost giving up a year, another year.
The decision to let Sam Darnold is going to ruin the franchise for a little while.
But
you don't get to make that bad of a decision and pop back and be like, how can we get back to the Super Bowl?
Well, my defense of that decision, KW, is that it had nothing to do with the decision to let Sam Darnold go. It was the decision to let Kirk Cousins go. Kirk Cousins also won 14 games and threw for 4,000, or 13 games, and it might have been 14, and threw for 4,000 yards with that team.
I felt like Kirk wanted to go. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that the whole Kirk to Atlanta, like Kirk was pushing to go.
I think Kirk wanted to go once he saw they didn't want to re-sign him to big money because they were ready to move on. Once you decide to move off your one quarterback who you think has a limited ceiling, even though put up great numbers and took you to the 14 wins in the playoffs, to draft a quarterback, you can't then not move off the next guy because that quarterback got hurt. So I understood that decision. They just have to see that decision through, I think.
Tough one.
A tough one.
Some bad decision making. Kyler and Tua are likely going to be released.
We'll work it out.
A few teams are either looking for starters or veterans to challenge their incumbent QB. Who would you rather have, Kyler or Tua, bro?
I would rather have Kyler. Look, I know what Tua is. And first of all, the injury situation with the concussions, and obviously it's just an unfortunate situation, but that's always a question with Tua. And then we even saw this year how him going, which is probably smart and maybe what he's even been told, but going down sometimes a little prematurely to avoid the big hits because of the possibility of concussion. That's always there. Beyond that, we've seen, I think, the ceiling with Tua. We saw him with a great play caller, Mike McDaniel. We saw him with 2 great receivers, maybe Tyreek Hill at his height.
Yep.
People were saying at that point, Tyreek's like a top 5 receiver of all time. Jalen Waddle, good running game with Achane and we've seen him at his optimum level, I think, and it was okay.
It was better than Kyler. In Tua's defense, it would be, you're right, we've seen his peak, but his peak was higher than Kyler's. That year that
for
Wildes
a full
loved.
season, because
yes.
Kyler, I think a question mark with him. Obviously, you got the study habits, you got the attitude, so you got some question marks. But no,
and his
but
ability
also,
to play 17
yes,
games.
he might be great for
that,
10 or 12.
Yes.
Can he do it for a whole season? So I do feel though, Nick, like the ceiling is higher for Kyler, and again, just the injury issue, which could happen to Kyler too, but is bigger for Tua. I just think that the upside for Kyler is much more than Tua.
I have decided to buy all the Tua stock you guys are selling.
Well, you still
I
own
still
a bunch.
own a lot of it. A lot of it. Here's the thing.
You picked this to be the Super Bowl one year.
That was
Dolphins
probably.
Cardinals was your
One of the
Super Bowl
issues
pick.
was the Super Bowl was in Arizona, and previously the teams that were hosting the Super Bowl made the Super Bowl. That being said,
Nice logic.
at one point it was holding true. Tua has, in his career, has led the league in yards, has led the league in passer rating, has led the league in completion percentage, and now he's just going to be released.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure I do know who Tua is. I would throw the Guardian cap on and be like, you know what? I need a fresh start. I can throw the ball.
He's going to get better receivers somewhere. He's going to get a better play caller.
I am not willing to buy into the narrative that Tyreek Hill made.
What? This is about to be a sentence that has never been uttered on sports TV. So I want
Buckle up.
everyone.
I
Let's all
believe
be
this,
quiet
and I have
let's hear.
I have evidence from NFL films.
Go ahead.
I do not believe that Tua's success is all because of Tyreek Hill, and none of Tyreek Hill's success is because of Tua. There's clips on NFL films mic'd up when it's Tyreek Hill who's running the wrong route that Tua adjusts and hits him. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm
just glad that's
I
been
wouldn't
said.
say all of Tyreek's success either, or Tua's success, but a lot of it.
A decent
Maybe
amount.
most of it.
So I have never.
Can I come
go
back
ahead.
real quick? I'm
Please.
not done.
Yeah, please. This is great.
Tua wins. The guy wins games.
Not in cold weather or against good teams.
Against good team, well, look, that's something that can be worked. Something that can be worked on. When Tua left that team and they had another backup quarterback in there, throw the ball down to Tyreek Hill. He's great. He can make it all work.
Skylar Thompson's not as good as Tua. I'll give you that.
No, and the thing where I'll defend Tua on the cold weather thing is that might have been a Miami Dolphins problem. Like, did you guys see the NFLPA report? We didn't spend much time on it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Oh, this is a great take. You should have saved this one.
What? No.
I know you're going to say ranked too high.
Yeah, the Dolphins, it was like everything's so perfect.
Yeah,
the locker room's great. The owner's great. The
what else it's an
food's
issue
great.
of?
And I just feel like it kind of all leads to a team that doesn't necessarily do as well as you want in bad elements against good those things. So I'm not going to put that.
Lost to the Chiefs.
I'm not going to put that all.
You lose to Josh Allen.
I'm not going to put that all on Tua. And I've never really been a big believer in either of these guys. You guys know that. Kyler, there was a year when Kyler's team was last undefeated team. I didn't believe.
Yeah.
However, you guys also know how much I love rivals ratings and pedigree. Kyler's the greatest player in the history of Texas high school football. The greatest.
How Tua do in Hawaii?
Again, he's the greatest player in the history of Texas.
Hawaii's history.
If I had to pick one, I would take a bet on Kyler.